like someone's like pressuring on my throat or putting pressure on my throat.
It is harassing Josh, and it keeps feeling like it's trying to harass Josh.
My name's Becky Ann Galentine. I'm a paranormal investigator. I've been investigating for about a decade. I travel all over the country looking for the most haunted locations. This weekend, I'm back in my home state of Pennsylvania investigating likely one of the most haunted locations here, the Grand Midway Hotel. I've been to this hotel before, but I've never investigated it as extensively as we're about to. Wow.
Whoa, this is amazing.
Definitely looks haunted.
Yeah, we should go check out our rooms.
Yeah, definitely.
My name is Josh Rawson. I am a paranormal investigator out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I've been doing this for over a decade. When it comes to investigating, I try and bring a more scientific approach. I try and debunk things rather than just say it's paranormal. This is my first time at the Grand Midway, and I'm excited to see what we might encounter.
My name is Blair Murphy. I'm a filmmaker. I grew up in the town of Haddonfield, which is the Haddonfield from the Halloween movies. My father owned the funeral home in Haddonfield, and so between the funeral industry and horror movies, I ended up in Los Angeles and eventually took a vacation from LA and bought this place with some friends in the middle of Pennsylvania and for a short vacation, and I ended up just staying here. This place was on eBay. I had no idea what I was looking at, and my friends and I bought this sight unseen, relocated here. It's a 32-room old hotel that used to be a brothel in a coal mining town, Wimber, Pennsylvania. We were just here for a year break from our communities in the arts. We were thinking of like Andy Warhol's factory, kind of like a place where a bunch of artists could escape for a little bit. And I just never left. I ended up liking the place and finding the history fascinating. And then the haunted aspect was, I felt like the building found me and that I had some things to do here.
So we're gonna jump into the investigation by doing a tarot reading to gain some insight for our investigation underneath the world's largest tarot card. Although the tarot card itself might not have any significant energy, the idea behind tarot has obviously been held in a very high regard in this room, so I think it could really charge the reading, give us some great insight to whoever we may be communicating with. This is gonna give us some ideas, kind of give us some direction before we even get started with the investigation. So I'm gonna pull some cards, we're gonna answer some questions we have, and if we need to pull some more later on in the evening, we'll do that. So I'm gonna get set up to start reading.
So one thing that recently that has been interesting from Becky's readings with the tarot cards is actually one that she did yesterday when you did one on what we were going to have happen here. When you talked and you asked what kind of energy we were going to have, you got a pretty positive response in that.
Yep. Yeah, so we are likely going to encounter human spirits and approach this with compassion. So we're going to kind of see what we can ask about who we're going to encounter, what the nature of the investigation is going to be, and maybe some insight on where to start. a specific spirit here that wants to communicate with us that we're going to encounter tonight.
Perfect.
The next thing I want to ask is what the course of the investigation is going to look like. So what's going to happen to us? What kind of emotions, what things are we going to experience? And finally, I want to ask what we need to be mindful of or any challenges that we're going to face as we do this investigation tonight.
It'll be interesting to see if we get different responses than what we got yesterday.
Yeah, because as activity kind of cycles through, we're not always going to get the same answers. So the first question that we asked is there a specific spirit that we're going to encounter? Okay. So right away, we have the Two of Cups. And so what we're seeing on this card is kind of like a family of wolves. They are howling at the moon. So this is showing fulfillment. So kind of feeling like we're going to get a full house tonight. So yeah, with this, you have the representation of like a romance between these two wolves and their pups. So this is specific to this deck. However, it does kind of mean like twin flames or soulmates. And I'm not sure if that's particularly the spirits, or there might be a spirit here that kind of connects with us in a really great way. And there's kind of like a union between the two. So that's kind of what this is telling us.
I think that's pretty positive for first drawing.
Yeah, definitely. It's not obviously not a negative card, straight from the visuals, and there's just going to be a recognition or achievement coming from this. So feeling pretty good about that. The next thing that we asked is what the course of the investigation is going to look like. Okay, so we have the reverse of the Queen of Cups. So there's our little queen there. Kind of see the smoke swirling out of her cup. Now this is a reversal, so this is not going to hold the traditional meaning of this card. So the Queen of Cups typically represents empathy, and unfortunately this is a reversal of that. It's telling us that the course of the investigation might have something like some sort of psychic vampire, like feeding off something negative affecting our emotions and our ability to navigate this investigation. This is someone who may feel jealousy of someone else's success. Something like that is going to potentially pop up. We need to be mindful of that as far as investigating goes, trying to figure out where that would lead us, what that would mean to us if we have some sort of emotional challenge or negative energy going on here.
And I know yesterday when you were doing the reading, we didn't get any type of negative card to go with it. So now that we're here and you're getting that, it might enforce that.
Well, we're physically in the building now. So the spirits, whoever around us are witnessing us, they're watching this reading, they're seeing what's going on. There is their energy now coming into this. This is not just our higher selves reading into it. So the last thing is we're looking for some insight into what we need to be mindful of as the investigation goes through the next several nights. What are we going to be looking out for? What challenges are we going to face to make sure that we can kind of get through this and get the best results that we need? All right, and so we have the Emperor here. Now, an emperor is going to be ruling a kingdom. He has his own boundaries. He's kind of in charge of everything. He's very proud. Here in this deck specifically, you have one standing on top of some sort of rock or cliff overseeing everything. What this is telling me is he's making sure everything is going his way. He's got boundaries. I think this is kind of telling us that we need to be mindful of our boundaries and setting boundaries in case we interact with something that might be making us feel negatively. So if during the course of the investigation you start feeling angry, you need to take a step back and say, I know it's you making me feel this way, or interact with whatever is making you feel negativity and set that aside. So rather than a king who's kind of taking care of his people who are under his rule, you have an emperor, and emperors are a little more imposing. So he's kind of going to make sure that we're playing by his rules. And we want to be mindful if we know any rules, if we know certain things we're supposed to do or not to do, we need to follow and stay within those boundaries.
So he may not be looking out for us.
No, I don't think he's looking out for us. He's not going to hurt us. It's not
right.
Negative. It's not specifically representing one person, but this card is kind of saying, just make sure we're playing by the rules of the house. We're doing things the way that they're supposed to be done here, and we're setting our boundaries as well.
Okay.
With all that coming through, we have some good insight for the investigation. So I think we should take this information and kind of apply it to the specific rooms and start exploring them. Are you ready?
Absolutely, let's do it.
My name is Tom Pulliam, or a lot of people call me Chef Tom. I lived here at the Midway and was Laird's executive chef for many years. I have quite a few experiences in this place that I don't think anyone else has dealt with. One of them, for example, was walking up and down the halls 4 o'clock in the morning or so, and you would always hear somebody walking behind you. Or you turn around real quick, nobody's there. You hear people walking up and down the steps. You look down the steps, nobody's on the steps. After a while, you just got used to it. I mean, nothing was ever really harmful. My best experience in this place was I lived up on the 3rd floor. As soon as you get to the top of the steps, door on the left-hand side. Went in there one night after work, shut the door, locked it. I was the only one in the room. Wearing a pair of shorts. I lay down in bed. All of a sudden, a couple hours later, I wake up, I feel something on my leg. And I'm like, well, that felt weird, so I reached down, I rubbed it, and as soon as I rubbed it, I knew something wasn't right. I flicked the light on and immediately grabbed my phone and started taking, I got 2 good pictures of it. I had a perfect N, and all the lines are symmetrical, they're all equal. A perfect N with a line right through the center of it, carved into my leg. The sign was an ancient rune that meant protection from evil.
So we moved in, and people in the community right away started saying, why would you move into that place? It already had a haunted reputation. The town just wanted to tear it down, basically. The mayor of the town actually calls into an official meeting over at the town hall where he said, we've decided you cannot say the word ghosts to the media. And we have an alternative word you can use. You can say folklore. And that's as deep as we want to go down that weird road.
I think the bar is going to be a good place to start because it's a meeting place. It's the first place you see when you walk in the hotel, and I think it's going to bring some energy because it's kind of a place where everyone's congregating and hanging out. So hopefully the spirits are still doing that in the afterlife. You know, when you're walking up to the bar, you get the feeling of how many hundreds of people have walked up to the same place to order a drink. Everyone in town probably had some connection to this place. And, you know, they have tons of photos of this place being packed wall to wall with people dancing, having conversation. And with that, there does come some dark history. There's some discussion of someone who had left the bar and actually passed away. The other thing to mention is, you know, this was kind of used as a speakeasy, and I think we'll start with an EVP since it's a, you know, speakeasy. Hopefully we can get some people to speak for us.
So we're going to be starting off actually with one of my favorite pieces of equipment, and we're actually going old school for this. This is a 1970s tape recorder, and a lot of people in the paranormal field mainly use digital recorders, but we're going to go with this because the tape player has a magnet in the tape, and it's supposed to pick up more frequencies that a regular digital recorder won't be able to. And I think with using this, especially here, you know, I think, you know, we might actually get more voices than a standard digital recorder.
It's March 17th. We're at the bar at the Grand Midway Hotel. This is our first EVP session of the night. My name is Becky. If there's anyone in the room with us who would like to communicate, we're here to ask you a couple questions. We are not authorities of any kind, so you can feel comfortable talking to us. You're not in any trouble. We just want to get to know a little bit more about you.
My name's Josh. You know, like Becky was saying, if there's anyone here that can hear our voice, you know, we're just here to talk to you. We're not here to disrespect you or cause you any harm, but we'd love to hear your story.
Could you tell us your name?
What was your favorite thing to order here at the bar?
Ending session. right, so we're gonna play that back.
Yeah.
This is our first EVP session of the night. Wow, that's loud. My name is Becky. If there's anyone in the room with us who would like to communicate, we're here to ask you a couple questions. We are not authorities of any kind, so you can feel comfortable talking to us. You're not in any trouble. We just want to get to know a little bit more about you.
My name's Josh. Like Becky was saying, if there's anyone here that can hear our voice, we're just here to talk to you. We're not here to disrespect you or cause you any harm, but we'd love to hear your story.
Could you tell us your name?
What was your favorite thing to order here at the bar?
Can you tell me what year it is?
What was your favorite experience when you came here? Was there
What was that?
a favorite person that you like to see?
Can you tell me what year it is?
What was your favorite experience when you came here? Was there a favorite person that you like to see?
What can I get you to drink?
What's that tapping noise?
Yeah, there's some sort of tapping noise. We're gonna go ahead and play that back.
I was hearing that in real time, right? Your mic's picking them up, and I kept looking around to see if somebody was like tapping a ring on the thing. I'm like, what?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but I didn't see anybody.
No, because we're pretty mindful. We were pretty static the whole time. We weren't like tapping our feet or anything like that. But there is some sort of tapping that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it,
Yeah, you're trying to get someone's attention.
trying to get
Yeah.
someone's attention at the bar. You kind of tricked into coming here.
What's different about it?
It's almost like footsteps.
Yeah.
What can I get you to drink? Ending session.
It's still going.
What is that? Like a car or something like that? It sounds like an engine running.
Yeah, but no car went by.
No.
Like, we would have seen the headlights.
We do know that there is a train that runs through here. That was obviously not going on at that point, but it almost sounds like a car waiting and warming up or something like that. So there were 3 different things that tape picked up. Now we have to keep in mind with it being older equipment that
Right.
could literally be some sort of flaw of the machine. But it's just interesting because, like I said, if you're sitting in a bar, some people knock, tap, try and get someone's attention, or potentially we could be hearing footsteps coming down the steps.
So a couple nights later, I'm laying in bed and I fall asleep and I have a dream. And in the dream, I'm sitting at the bar in the next room, and all of a sudden, this woman in white period clothes, she comes up to me, sits at the bar, and she's like, "Tom, you never have to be afraid here. The Midway is a way station. People come, people go, but you never have to be afraid." And after that, I never concerned myself with that stuff again. Like I said, I lived here for many years. I've heard different things. I've seen different things that personally I can't explain, and I'm a skeptic on top of it. I don't know if I believe in that kind of stuff, but I cannot prove or disprove anything that's happened here.
So with it being pretty quiet in here, why don't we grab the equipment and check out the doll room?
That sounds like a great idea. Whoa.
That's a lot of dolls.
This is the most dolls I've ever seen in my entire life. You know what else? They're not just any dolls. This is Anne Rice's doll collection.
The author of Interview with a Vampire?
Yes, so the horror vampire author's dolls, she actually started collecting after her daughter passed away. So there could be a lot of sadness contained in this collection. I'll also go back to the tarot reading that we did earlier, and it mentioned something about a psychic vampire. So I think it's just kind of interesting that the vampire lines up a little bit with that.
So why don't we break out more equipment and see what we get?
Absolutely.
So I moved in first before my roommates, and I just thought the place was, I didn't understand what I was feeling at first, because I love horror movies. I have a background in, I was raised in a funeral, so I have a funerary background, and I've been around dead bodies my whole life. None of that kind of stuff bothers me, but I was really bothered here. I didn't know what was going on. The first couple weeks I was here, I was very uncomfortable. I slept with my bed by the front door for the first 3 days until I kind of got bolder and went into the building more. And the family that sold us the place, they said that back in 1949, a guy was murdered in the bar, and he had busted some people selling things illegally in the bar, and he came in the back door, and they clubbed him to death with a 2x4s. And he bumbled out the back door, and a cab just happened to be shooting by, and the cab's what actually killed him. And the guys walked out of the bar and said, "Anyone say a word, you'll get the same." And it's an unsolved murder to this day.
Because this is a doll room, we're not exactly sure what might be lingering here, if any of the dolls have something attached to them, or if there's something that just lingers here because they like to play with the dolls. So we brought out some equipment that's a little more interactive for whatever's present to play with. So we have some cat balls here, which they can simply touch and they'll light up, which is fun. We have a music box, which is motion censored. They might like touching it and making some music happen. And I think that's the kind of playful activity we'll see. This energy in this room doesn't feel negative or anything like that. So I'm hoping we'll see some playful energy. If there's anyone in this room who wants to communicate with us, touch one of those pieces of equipment or make a sound, anything you can do to let us know you're here.
Is there a certain doll you like to play with the most? If so, can you make it move?
I think a lot of people think that dolls hold all these spirits and energy, and most of the time it's just because they look human and it's easy for us to apply those kind of emotions and thoughts to them. And I definitely think it contributes to a bias, but we'll keep trying. If there's someone outside this room that wants to come play, there's a lot of dolls in here that you could check out. All you have to do is walk in the room. We're waiting to play. I know you're scared. There's a lot of new people here. There's cameras, but we're just looking to have some fun.
If you were just making that go off, can you stand in front of it again?
Okay, can you step away from it for a second so we know for sure it's you?
Okay, that was weird.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This device only picks up on motion, so something has to be standing physically in front of it, or it has to be aimed at like a door. For it to be varying the way that it is, it feels like maybe even someone running around it or stepping in front of it, playing with it and interacting with it. I think unfortunately with the way that we're set up, we're gonna need to either break out the spirit box and do an Estes session or get an EVP session, or else we're not gonna get more than yes or no answers, and that's not very helpful for what we're trying to find out.
If we grab some more toys you could play with, will you keep talking to us?
What draws any kind of energy or something like that, whether it's good energy, bad energy, it's the place itself. If this is, like in my dream, I was told it's a way station. If that's true, then there are, I believe one time I heard them called way lines or something like that, where energies converge, and that's where people go after passing, and till they go to the next place of existence. And I think if there's anything like that, that the Midway is sitting on a crossroads. This place is like no other. I mean, you could not in a million years find another place like the Midway.
My name is Nuckin. We're at the Grand Midway Hotel. I've been here several times, at least 6 times. I stayed in the canopy room most of those times. It was like something, it was the first room. I mean, I went upstairs, he was showing us around, and as soon as I went in that room, I felt like I belonged there. I've told Blair, don't ever let anybody open up that doll. From what I gathered through the Necrophonic app, I use that a lot as a spirit communication. There is at least 2 good spirits in there and 1 malevolent. Now, I'm not saying it's a demon, but it's something not good because they're keeping that in there. So I told Blair, please don't ever let anybody open up that doll. But the answers we got from the Necrophonic app and the divining rods also led me to believe that there's something in that doll.
The canopy room is a room right across the hall from this room, and that's got to be our most popular haunted room. It seemingly has the most energy to it, and the most guests end up not spending the night in it. I would say 8 out of 10 guests easily do not spend the night in that room. They rent the room, come by in the morning, and they're across the hall, and they say, something said get out, and I had to get out. And it's real consistent that people leave that room. A lot of people step in the room, and right off the bat, they're just like, oh, I don't want to go in that room. And I just hear it more from men than from women. It's very consistent that males do not like the room. It seems like we think a woman was killed in that room over and over again. The dreams people talk about have been in that room, or psychics talking about it. They're all pretty consistent about a woman dying in that room, and that she's still somehow associated with the room. And it feels like a teenager just saying, get out, just get out of my room, and slamming the door. That's what it feels like over and over and over again.
All the rooms that I've experienced here at the Midway, I would have to say the canopy room weirds me out and freaks me out the most. That room does not like men. Something about it. I know people personally that have stayed in that room. I personally won't go in it. I don't like it. But I know people that go in there, women and men, they spend the night, and the men just leave. I don't know if it's evil in that room, if you can call it evil, or something just not right. We always heard like heavy footsteps on the 2nd floor, and we always heard them on the back steps in the kitchen. It's my personal belief that it's the gentleman that used to be in charge of the hookers that worked in the building back in the day. And it was his job to keep an eye on them to make sure like people were paying and stuff like that, and that's why you hear him on the 2nd floor going back and forth. I think the main reason that the canopy room shows a lot of activity is my personal belief is that one of the hookers, or whatever you would like to refer to her as, was murdered in there, and that's why that room does not like men, because whatever's holding on to that room was female, and she was hurt in there.
So we're on the 3rd floor. This floor is associated with Martha, or Minnie. She was 17 years old watching a 4th of July parade from the balcony here at the Grand Midway, and she was unfortunately hit by shrapnel from a firework, and it cut her neck, and she passed away here. This has been confirmed by her family, who had a photograph that said that had happened. And there's also another association here with a demon room. So a lot of people feel kind of negative energy when it comes to that room. What I think the best method is, because we have a lot of different energies, a lot of different spirits pulling us in different directions, is to get a hold of Seth and see if there's anything overwhelming him. Now, Seth is a medium on the West Coast, so there's absolutely no way that he's familiar with this place. So I think it's a good idea to give him a FaceTime call and see if he can do a remote reading on the location we're at right now.
Yeah, let's call him.
Okay. Hi.
Hey, Seth.
Hi, guys.
Oh, we're getting close to the end of the first night at this place. I know you're not familiar with it at all, but I want to show you around a little bit on this floor. There's a lot going on, and we're kind of needing a little insight in which direction we want to go. So I'm going to flip the camera around and kind of show you.
Yeah,
All right.
sounds good. I don't know why it's hard to breathe, but... okay. Are people living here?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You got that right. Yep. The owner lives here,
Why?
and yeah. So it kind of operated not just as a hotel, but an artist collective. So you're definitely picking up on the people who have come and gone over the years who are living here.
Okay. Man, it's hard to breathe. What the heck is that about? Oh my god. Okay. Ooh, man, something's up with these stairs. I'm assuming whoever stays there sees somebody up and down the stairs.
Interesting.
That is.
This is an impression. It's not even like a spirit. This is like something must have been really traumatic that left this imprint, because it's residual over and over.
I have the chills right now.
Well, look at my arm, it's all full of chills.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely got like 10 degrees colder when he said that.
I'm seeing like a lot of stuff. I'm trying to make sense of it real quick here. And there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't be here. A lot of stuff that needs to go home. They look like slugs. Big black slugs that are moving really quick. All centered around a mask. And they're checking you out. Mask. It's this hatchet, something a hatchet in the neck. Man, I'm getting a lot of weird stuff.
That's weird. That's actually really, I just got goosebumps.
Like it hurts all down my neck, like, and she's just yelling, no, don't. This was a long time ago. Holy crap, she is like... that's why it's hard to breathe. Someone just told me to shut up. This man, his voice, just like really... I don't know if it was at me or at this woman. Something else that was brought into the house that sparked it again. It almost like went to sleep. This energy almost like wouldn't have even existed again. Something came in the house from another country, and it like reactivated everything. Like a battery for the dead almost.
What you're bringing forward is really good. It's kind of giving us insight to someone we suspected to be here being here. If you're ready for that information, it's going to blow your mind. But on this floor, about how many years? It was
12.
Yeah,
112.
112 years ago, there was a 17-year-old girl who was standing on the balcony watching fireworks. She was hit in the neck by shrapnel from the fireworks, right in the neck, and she bled out. And I'm going to show you what she looks like, because I feel like the description you were pulling in
Look at her hair.
to the side and everything. So this is her, this is Minnie.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't show you before that, but when you started getting the neck feelings, that's kind of really confirming that she's still here. I had done a few readings on the place before coming here and was told there's someone here who's bound, who feels bound. And
she's bound. I agree, she's bound.
I'm not sure how or why, or if she just feels that way. So I'm hoping this investigation kind of pulls us in a direction where we can help her if she needs it, or just lets her know, like, you know, you're not stuck here. I think that what you pulled through was really, really helpful for what we're experiencing. The other thing I want to tell you before we get out of here is that this place was operated as a brothel at one point. So when you say that there is a dominant male energy and a woman smoking cigarettes, spot on. That gives us insight. You know, we're not really getting into the spirits that would have been hanging out at the bar, and more so the people who were working at the brothel, maybe the people who were in charge of the brothel, and perhaps Minnie. So that was super, super helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
You guys are so welcome. I'll send you these notes over, okay?
Perfect, thanks. Okay.
That was weird.
When he said the neck, I was like, no way. He always gets it. He always gets it. And it's like, especially bringing him in a place where there's so many spirits that have dominating voices and want to be heard. It's like, is she here? And then he said that. I was like, you're kidding. Like,
Well,
that's so specific.
One night I was here by myself because a couple of the other crews couldn't get here till a later date because of their work. So I stayed here by myself. I was the only one here. Come out of the room and I hear this crash. It sounds like metal, it sounds like glass. I mean, something profound crashed. And so when I got to see Blair later, I asked him, did something fall and break? So he looked around. I looked out in the hallway, nothing. We've heard filing cabinets opening, like old metal filing cabinets, and then you can hear them scooting, but there's none up there. And then, like I said, you hear walking, furniture moving, and a lot of this happens when I'm not even in the room, or nobody's in the hotel.
We had a guy, a local college kid, moved in upstairs, and it was just a regular room, and he started making these paintings. There's still a couple up there, and they were floor-to-ceiling paintings. He used a wet chalk is what he did them with. And he would say, I'm just painting what I see, is how he would word it. And this collection grew and grew and grew until he had 2 rooms full of these paintings, floor to ceiling. And it was like, the more he created this gallery, the more the vibe in the room started to get creepier and creepier. And people in Pittsburgh that were coming here started referring to it as the demon room. That's not a phrase this artist used in any way, but they were kind of demonic, kind of angelic paintings. And so this room, which had no activity in the beginning, really took on a vibe that sort of rivaled the canopy room. That was like a created or summoned vibe by a totally different situation in another part of the building. And at one point, he, in one swoop, took all the paintings outside and burned them all of them. And I was horrified. I was like, because to me, it's artwork regardless of what the subject matter is. And he just was like, no, they got to go. It had to be done. And so there's 3 up there that are left because the one was in a closet, he missed it. One's on the wall that he couldn't be removed, and one I bought a long time ago.
So it's night 2 here at the Grand Midway, and we had some pretty compelling evidence in the doll room last night, as well as trying to reach out and speak to Martha.
Yeah, when we called Seth, he seemed to be pretty confident, without knowing anything about her, that a spirit there that was somehow wounded traumatically in the neck was present. Now he did pick up on some other spirits, but tonight I really want to focus our energy on Martha to see if we can make a true connection with her. Last night we didn't really get a chance to let her speak, and I want to start working on that.
I think it'd be interesting to see if we can get in contact with her, if something's preventing her from contacting us.
And the other thing I want to figure out is, like you said, if something is preventing her from speaking to us, or potentially even preventing her from leaving. So when we talk about the brothel and the overbearing presence, either an overbearing male energy or perhaps a woman who was in control of these spirits, or women in their lifetime. We want to see if someone is oppressing Martha. We did pick up on our tarot reading yesterday, and we got kind of a message that we needed to look out for someone feeding off someone else's energy. And with someone as impressionable and young as Martha at 17, it would make sense that maybe an older woman was jealous of her, or a man was trying to control her, making sure that she doesn't leave. Now, one thing about the Grand Midway is they actually do travel to the locations of these people's burial sites, and there's some of Martha's graveyard dirt actually in this building. So we're gonna see if there's any energy that's tying her here because of that, or what's going on.
Due to Martha passing tragically out in the hallway, out on the balcony, I think our best bet is to go out there and try and get in contact with her.
All right, let's go talk to Martha.
My father passed away right in front of me, and it was very devastating to me. So I didn't understand it. I didn't talk for a year after that. And my youngest brother was only, what, November, 4 months old when my dad died. So he never knew him, never saw a picture. You know, my mom didn't do that till later. So one night I was babysitting my youngest brother, and now he was a toddler. We were sitting out at the table, we were coloring, and he had to use the restroom. So he got up, and I heard him talking to somebody. And I come around the corner, I'm thinking there's nobody else in the house, just us. I said, "Who are you talking to?" He says, "Dad." And I looked up and I saw, now I'm pretty sure it was my father, but he was from here up. Now he was see-through, but everything, like the details in his face, he had a mole, everything was there. What was amazing to me is, like I said, my youngest brother never saw a picture of my dad at the time, didn't know him, nothing. And for him to look up and say, "Dad," it's like when you go to somebody's house for the first time. You don't know them, they don't know you. You're in that phase of getting comfortable, and I think with spirits, they do the same thing. I think the more I'm here, the more they come out to me. And I actually think the more spirits that come through the portal toward me, I don't know why they're drawn to me, but I have a feeling they are. Now there's a mirror in there that I can prove that is a portal. Because I don't know if you know, when you push your fingers in the mirror, it's supposed to be like that. Well, when you do it up there, there's a space like that in that mirror.
Have I had any experiences with Martha? Yeah, I feel like I've been living with this woman for 20 some years. I did an interview, and in particular, I talked about Martha and her grave and all that. And that night I had a dream where Martha took me to this silent movie set, and we were sitting on like a bench in an old like 1910 silent film set. And I remember thinking in the dream, God, I could just sit here forever. And she says that's what it's like to be a ghost. And I woke up and I was like, oh, did I just make that up, or is that Martha affecting my dream? Because a lot of people here that stay here have dreams about the characters that are part of the story in this building. And so I don't know if that was Martha or me, but I feel like I know her and that she's part of my life here.
We got some equipment set up in the hallway close to where Martha has passed away and where her graveyard dirt is actually kept. There's a photo of Martha right over here, so her memory is kept very much alive in this hallway. Behind us, we have a music box and we have a tripwire EMF rope. So if Martha is coming towards us in either direction, she might be able to touch some of this equipment. We're gonna start off with a simple EVP session to try and see if we can get her to speak, and we'll progress from there.
Perfect.
Martha, we have a few things set up. They're not gonna hurt you. We have a music box in this direction. If you walk in front of it, what's gonna happen is it's gonna play a really pretty song for you. But if that's not your thing, we also have a rope behind us. You can reach out and touch one of those purple lights, or if you walk towards us, they will light up and they change different colors. We also have a device in front of us that will pick up your voice. So if you use your energy, it will pick up your voice and you can talk to us. We're only here to hear your story, hear what you have to say. We know you've shown yourself in the window, and we appreciate that you've shown yourself to people in the past, but we really would like to talk to you after you reached out to my friend Seth last night. We know you have a lot to say about why you're here. We know that you are potentially looking to maybe move in between this space and some others, or someone else might be trying to keep you here, so we're trying to figure that out, okay? My name is Becky and this is Josh. So if you didn't catch our names last night, we want to introduce ourselves formally. So we're going to start the EVP session. This is night 2 at the Grand Midway Hotel. We're near the balcony where Martha was killed in 1911. So Martha, if you're with us, could you give us some sort of sign that you're here? Use your energy so we can hear your voice or make any sort of sound around us. We would love to talk to you.
Martha, is there anything or anyone that's keeping you here?
Can you tell us what year it is?
Are you able to interact with other spirits that might be still staying here?
Okay, ending session. Can you tell us what year it is? That sounds insane. Okay, so we need to rewind a little further. This is night 2 at the Grand Midway Hotel. We're near the balcony where Martha was killed in 1911. All the vocals
Martha,
are distorted.
If you're with us, could you give us some sort of sign that you're here? Use your energy so we can hear your voice or make any sort of sound around us. We would love to talk to you.
Can you hear?
My eyes are watering.
Martha, I think your hair looks really pretty. Who taught you how to do it?
All right, so playing that back, what's going on is it's playing twice the speed. It completely corrupted before we got it to play. Obviously the machine isn't broken because it stopped and then it started and it's playing at normal speed, but there's no speed settings on here and it's twice as fast, it's warped. When I asked about her hair, kind of seemed like we were getting something picked up, not quite sure what it was.
I would never say that I am intuitive or that I can pick up on energy. For some reason, when I do investigate, it seems like whenever something happens, like there's a static electricity in the air or something's around, my body picks up on it in the sense that like, it's like a static feeling comes over me and my eyes just start watering. Now, it could be just the fact that, hey, you know, we're cold and maybe I'm just looking into it too much with the fact that, you know, it's distorted, but at the same time, every time that this has happened to me, for the most part, it's usually because something paranormal. Again, I'm not saying it's paranormal, but it's just a weird coincidence.
Right. It's also an overwhelming idea, I'd say, to kind of have the impression that someone's being held behind or not allowed to talk when she wants to.
So I think we should give Seth a call. And I think while we call him, we should be over by the balcony where Martha tragically was killed on the 4th of July while watching fireworks back in 1911.
Sure, it definitely makes sense that he might have a little bit a more strong of a read in that location, but we won't let him know that we got closer to her. I just want to see if he's able to pick up on that, and we'll head over there and get started.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect plan. Let's go over there.
In the early days, the town didn't like us at all. They were pretty rude, actually. I mean, everything you can accuse someone of. They're Satanists, they're pornographers, they're the FBI, they're drug dealers. I mean, like, we were accused of all of it. I think they thought we were only going to be here for about 2 months. And now I stuck it out here. And so I think the town just sort of kind of ignores us. That if you picture like a donut, we're the donut hole in the very center of town, and the community just kind of exists around us. And the base of people that come to this building are not from this community. I mean, this is just an old rotten building to the community. But when we put the Ouija board on the roof, that was really, I think, the nail in the coffin to the town. like horrified, I think. We have the world's largest Ouija board on our roof, and Guinness came and gave us the award for it, and it made world news. It was kind of wild, and I don't think the town loved the award. And so I'm living above the world's largest tarot card and beneath the world's largest Ouija board. And I feel like this building is like a portal, and I'm enhancing that.
I haven't told Seth about anything that happened. He doesn't know that we're specifically trying to reach out to Martha right now, so I'm gonna give him a call and see what he picks up on in just the immediate area that's surrounding us.
How's everything going? Are you guys doing okay?
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good.
Good. Okay. Oh man, there's somebody just said, "I see you," to me. Has Josh been touched? Because I saw someone go like this on him, like messing with him.
Okay, so yeah, we've been trying to withhold how much we're giving you on what just happened, but out of the two of us, Josh was affected by the situation.
I don't know who this is that's really like intelligent, that you can't really see, but they are fascinated by me like I am with them. And it's a collective of things that have happened there that made this. This isn't really like a spirit that we would, it's definitely not a human spirit. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. This was like conjured together. And it was this feels like it was a failed attempt, and this thing is the result, and it's here. I don't know why it is harassing Josh, and it keeps feeling like it's trying to harass Josh. Like depleting his energy, making him kind of zapped or dizzy. Not really marks on his body, but it's capable of that. Are you wearing something that's protective? It's shining in its eyes.
So I'm actually, the fact that it's interested in you is interesting because I'm wearing the bracelets that you gave me for protection.
That's why I can't touch you. That's exactly why I can touch Josh.
Okay.
This space that you're in right now, it wants you out of there. It's like claiming it as its own space. Oh my God, there's something in the wall. This is a weird thing. It's affecting your left side of your body.
Okay.
Your left side, when I teach people, your left side is like you're receiving, your right is you're giving, but it's like, it looks like it's shooting darts into you, feeding off of your energy.
That's okay.
And you're, like, my hand is cold now. I just was so hot I had to unzip my hoodie, and now my hand is like freezing on my left hand. This is some Crowley stuff. Like straight out of like the Lima or Golden Dawn.
That checks out.
This is like white. I don't know what this blood is coming from, if it's an animal or a child, but this happened quite a while ago.
We have one body, possibly two, buried in the basement. That we're confirmed we have one child buried down there from long ago that died. Something happened. We think maybe they were dropped. And I called a psychic early on in California from PA, and I said, yeah, I'm holding a photo of this building I'm sitting in. What impressions did you get? And she said, I hear a nursery rhyme in the basement. It sounds like, she said, come and play anytime. I speak in riddles and rhymes. My father killed me, what a crime. In this wall, right in this room we're sitting in, a woman came one time with cadaver dogs, and she said, how if I walk my dogs through your building? And the dog came into this room and went up to this wall and said something about human remains in this wall. Now, cadaver dogs are trained to not recognize taxidermy, but they can find a drop of blood from someone shaving from 50 years ago. And so I said, well, tear open the wall. And so we broke open the wall, and she pulled her hand out, and there were bone chips in her hand. And so she came back the following week with 9 dogs. Now the investigation started, and all 9 dogs, one at a time, walked to the building and went up to this wall and said, human remains, human remains. So there's something that was buried in this wall right here.
This thing is like snarling at me. I feel Martha's scared of this thing, and I don't think she comes to here very much. Where you were earlier is where she kind of hangs out.
Okay.
She's really clear. And here it's something, people took advantage of this, people went in here, they took advantage of this death to try to conjure this energy.
The bloodshed from her getting hit in the neck. So that blood was already shed, and they didn't have to do anything in their ritual to incorporate any sort of blood magic because there had already been bloodshed. So they took advantage of the situation to create whatever this is. And that doesn't mean it's human. It could just be the fact that there was bloodshed in a way, someone who's 17 years old, right on the cusp and coming of age.
You're exactly correct. This thing looks like a jacked up black dog. I don't know how to explain this thing, but it's snarling. It doesn't like your devices. It's gonna drain batteries pretty quick.
So, non-human, not an egregore, not a thought form, just...
This is like a real thing.
All right, that definitely makes sense and gives us more insight on what we're doing. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna wrap up and let you go. We really appreciate you giving us a little more ideas about what's going on here. What I think I'm gonna try to do is pull some cards for Martha, see if I can get some ideas about how she's feeling, what she needs us to do, and jump into an Estes session and see if we can really, make contact with her. Maybe one of us acting as some sort of channel instead of her trying to use a device. She might find a little more energy passing through us or more comfort with something like that kind of roaming around here.
Yeah, she trusts you without a doubt.
Okay.
She completely trusts you. So you're kind of the key to her. I know that's a lot to put on you, but when I try to see her with anybody else, it's only you that she's like really kind of hovering around, I guess. So.
All right, thank you, Seth. That was super helpful.
Yeah, thank you as always.
Okay, we're gonna go grab the tarot cards.
Perfect.
Have a good night. The last time we pulled some cards, last night, we had something reminding us that we need to be setting boundaries if anything is affecting us negatively on this investigation. According to what Seth said, you're being affected and it hasn't gone too far, but before it gets any further, we want to make sure you're setting your boundaries before we start this reading.
If there's anything that can hear my voice that's trying to affect me, you're not allowed to follow me, you're not allowed to harm me, you're not allowed to keep trying to drain my energy. We're trying to talk to Martha, and we need you to allow her to come and talk to us and stop preventing her from having her voice told.
Yep. We are here for Martha, and it's her turn to speak. Okay, Miss Martha, we're gonna do something nice for you. So if you haven't seen this done before, these cards are gonna allow us to kind of figure out a little bit more about you. We're gonna ask a few questions. We wanna know how you're doing, and we care about you. Nobody else in this vicinity are we trying to communicate right now. These cards are specifically for answering questions about Martha. So the first thing I want to know, Martha, We want to know how you're doing. So if you can reach out to us and let us know how you're feeling, if there's anything about what's going on with you that you'd like to tell us, please let me know. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to ask. Next thing, Martha, I know that you're being prevented to speak in some way, or I have this feeling that that's what's going on with you. Can you tell us who or what is preventing you from speaking? And the last thing, Martha, we care about you. So we want to know if there's something we can do to help you. So if you could let us know, what can we do to help Martha? So, how is Martha feeling? Queen of Cups. And it's the reversal. We pulled this on the first night. This is telling us that there is a psychic vampire. There's something feeding her energy. So what we need is whatever that is to step away from her and let her speak. Let her communicate with us. This is someone who's jealous of Martha. This is someone who may be feeling like she's young and beautiful. She's the spirit, she's the star spirit here. She's the reason people come to the Grand Midway. People want to speak to Martha. Her poster's on the wall. There's articles about her. She's very special and cared about here. And that's why we're here. And we're not interested in speaking with whatever it is that's hurting her or holding her back.
Absolutely.
Okay, that being said, let's see what is holding her back. No way. Okay, so we have the reversal of the Four of Cups. This is the focusing of the negative energy, and I believe what's happening is not so much Martha focusing negatively on herself, but something about her just pulls in this negative energy. So maybe it's not a person, but specifically what Seth was speaking about, where there's something that's kind of a collective holding her like this. So the last card that we pulled, what can we do to help Martha? What's gonna help us finish up this investigation and kind of see how we can get her closer to us? And this is a Five of Swords. And as you can see on this card, we've got someone bound, someone in white, a beautiful person, someone else holding them hostage. I think that speaks volumes about what's going on right now. We are seeing something that is unkind. This is cruel. Martha is being used. Martha is being held. This is not the first time this theme has come up. And what we need to do is she needs to kind of break through this. We need to stand up for her. We're gonna have to kind of maybe coach her, speak to her in a way to get her to stand up for herself, to say, hey, I'm here. Like, Martha, your voice is gonna be heard. We are a channel for your voice to be heard, and we're gonna use some tools to let that happen. We are no longer gonna let anyone else in this house control you or bully you.
Yeah, I think right now the best thing for us to do is do an Estes session. Becky's gonna go under and she's gonna try and contact Martha and see if we can get any communication from her. Martha, if you can hear my voice, is there someone not letting you talk?
Thanks.
Are
I'm
you
talking?
Hello, Martha. Is that who we're talking to right now?
Are they dating? Don't see that too often.
Who are you talking to right now?
You guys hearing this wind outside?
Yes.
It did not start until you did that. I'm like, what is going on right now?
You would.
It is howling.
It's really loud.
Like it's shaking the window. I thought somebody was walking.
We're connecting.
Martha.
Open it.
Martha, we'd like to talk to you more about...
Something just touched me.
Really?
It like tapped on my ear and touched me. This is Becky speaking right now, but I'm going back.
Okay. Who's touching Becky right now?
Is he waiting for him?
Martha, can you hear our voice?
That's 5 or 6. We're close.
Who's communicating with us right now? Because we're getting multiple.
We stole them.
Are you on this floor with us right now?
We can't. Get your own.
You know, we set boundaries earlier and told whatever.
We can lose you forever.
Martha, are you by the stairs right now?
They weren't.
Feel free to come talk to us, Martha. We're trying to talk to you. You know, we set boundaries earlier so that whatever was preventing you from talking will allow you to talk now. Do you have anything you want to say?
Martha.
What about Martha? Is that who we're... Are you
Can't
still...
stand her.
Why can't you stand her? She's done nothing to you.
I don't want to.
You need to leave Martha alone and let her talk to us.
You.
You have no power over her.
Turn to the side.
Okay. What's supposed to happen now?
We want you.
Why?
Run. I'm here.
My eyes are starting to water again.
Martha. I'm
Martha?
famous.
Martha, if that's you, you are famous. Don't let anyone stop you from talking to us.
Who knew? The darkness, I can't.
Are you stuck back there?
You were just here. I feel like something's like pressuring on my throat or putting pressure on my throat.
We got some very, I don't know, some negative responses. Some solid responses.
What felt like something feminine and gentle would come through. Again, we can't say for sure. They're just manipulating whatever voices they have. Your eyes just like out of nowhere got these heavy dark circles and like look like, you know, really heavy.
Yeah.
But it felt like for a second, you know, there would be like a gentle, like feminine light energy, and then it would be followed by this kind of like don't, like, you know, like standing over that.
So what kind of worries me is the fact that something was saying that it was in the room and it was hiding. I told it to come on out, and it pretty much wouldn't. It said it's stuck in it said something about being in the darkness. It feels like whatever is, you know, asserting itself and trying to scare people is more in there as well as what Seth said. I feel like it could be between the hallway, I mean on both ends of the hallway. I don't know if it just hangs out there, but something about that now has just a really, really weird vibe.
Okay. My thoughts are kind of feeling like whatever this is was created and it runs through the entire hotel. And the one way that we can kind of interact with it is if we make an attempt to split up and address it separately. We're gonna have to be very mindful and in communication with each other, but by doing so, by splitting up and doing solos, we are allowing ourselves to be kind of vulnerable to get to the bottom of what's going on here.
Right, yeah.
And if we can't, that's okay. We just, again, we're gonna do it briefly. We're gonna stay in communication and make sure we're protected and taken care of. And we're gonna see, yikes. We're gonna see if we can communicate, you know, and get the same answers while we're not even in the vicinity of each other.
Yeah.
Are you guys all right? But Becky, when you came out, you looked...
Yeah, I felt like someone was putting pressure on my throat.
When something touched you, right, your ear...
It was like this in my ear.
Yeah,
like
the wind came crazy out of nowhere. It was...
We're just doing an experiment. Everything feels shitty. I felt like something grabbed my arm. Like,
It It feels cold.
like this. Yeah. So even my arm is sore.
Feels colder, and that thing kept going off. But the lion down there, it looked like the eyes grew
No
red.
thanks. That's
Well,
good.
to debunk that,
It was weird.
even if a car went by, there's no way that headlights would have bounced off that angle. The street's out that way.
I'll have to go back and look at the footage, but
I really feel like this building found me. And all the things that have happened. It was a building that was just about falling down, and suddenly it's on national TV shows. We're winning World Guinness Awards. It's been in some novels. There's 2 novels set here. There's some feature films set here, and it just keeps notching itself up higher and higher. And so I don't even know how large or what's even happening here. I'm just playing a role in its growth. On an end note, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. If you don't believe in the paranormal, I don't care either way. And I'm not even trying to sell it. It's just there's something's going on here, and if you're meant to visit, come visit.
5 minutes. I'm starting right now, so start asking questions and just rapid fire anything you want to ask about what just happened.
Okay.
All right, as soon as I hang up, I'll be under.
All right, bye. Is there anything that is trying to get and communicate with us specifically, or anyone specifically?
It's a demon here, hey. Look under the cover.
You don't have any boundaries over her.
We're getting there.
Will you let her communicate? Is there something in this room that doesn't like people being in its space?
I'm out of here.
Are you able to communicate with other spirits that might be here?
Skinned alive. They're gonna.
Do you like having people
I
trying to
hate
reach
you.
out to you?
Demon.
What was trying to harm me earlier? Can you tell me who was affecting Becky earlier? Who touched her?
It's karma. Headache.
Are you able to do it again?
Okay. Okay, I'll call Josh. I could taste blood in my mouth while I was doing that. It was super creepy. I feel so
Hey.
uncomfortable.
How'd it go?
That was super. Were you asking creepy questions?
Why? What'd you get?
It was just really creepy. They were just talking about like a body and things like that. Again, this is stuff we'll review later. So what we're gonna do now is we're both gonna be under at the same time and see if the 2 rooms communicate. So to be clear, nobody's asking any questions. There's nothing to be heard. We're just gonna go 5 minutes to see who can talk. I can be honest, I'm like super creeped out by what I was feeling and hearing through that, so.
About to. Yeah, about to turn it on now, and don't look.
Get back.
Martha.
There's too many. Again. It's a demon.
Help.
Get him out of here. 45. hell? Yikes.
Okay, that was a little weird. There's a difference between picking up just radio static, which a lot of that was what I think I was mainly hearing, except for the few things I did say. In the background, the difference between hearing just static, because this was playing reverse, so whatever I was saying, the radio stations that we were picking up were sweeping backwards, so anything, it shouldn't have formed a sentence. But the one thing it sounded like in the very background was a ha 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 ha, and then it would just be static, and then it would be ha 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 ha, and then it just got like, and then it just stopped. But it feels very like just an unnerving feeling when hearing that, because not much was really coming through until the end there, where it was just ha 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 ha. So that was very very strange. Yeah, it made me kind of feel very uncomfortable.
All right, we just finished our dual Estes session in 2 separate rooms at the Grand Midway. We are now gonna go meet in the bar downstairs, and we're gonna talk about what we found, and we're gonna have to review that evidence later to see if they line up. It's gonna be pretty compelling if 2 separate rooms on 2 separate floors got similar results.
So the first session, not much of anything. It felt just like randomness. There was really no method to it. I didn't feel like I was picking up on a certain message or a certain thing that needed to be said. What was interesting though was the second session, it kind of changed. It felt like more different in a way, like something was trying to say something, but scare me in a way, I feel like. There was a male voice that was coming through that it could have been radio interference, but it was a deep male voice, almost as if, this happened the first time too, but it almost sounded as if like the tone had been changed. It was like, hey, like that kind of like a deep voice. And but what was interesting was near the end, I wasn't getting words, and there was a difference between the static that was coming through, but in the background you could hear ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha.
We had laughter. That was the first thing when I went under.
Really?
When we were doing the dual Estes. So when you were under and I was under, the same thing. First thing, ha ha ha. Like that.
That's really weird.
So we're gonna see where that lines up.
Okay.
I will say that the second time when you were asking questions, things felt very dark. There were references to bodies, to the demons, to a lot of things, getting them out. I don't know exactly because you're kind of in a trance, so I don't remember everything that was said for an entire 5 minutes. But then when we both went under, it's almost as if everything was lifted from my room and maybe passed to you. I don't know, we're gonna still have to review that when we go home. The last thing that happened when I started going under and we were under at the same time, the static changed. It went from ch-ch-ch to like chi-chi. It was just like a different style of white noise, and almost no messages were coming through. So I'm interested. I'm glad we pushed it to see where that'll line up. That being said, with the other evidence coming through, we have some new theories. This place would take decades to truly figure out what's going on here, and even then, I don't know if that's possible. We have some pointers towards what's going on with Martha. We kind of have an idea that there might be something that was an opportunist that heard about what had happened to her here and then took that death and used it either to make this place more scary or to allow something else to kind of feed off of that negative energy. And, you know, as we investigate, we rarely encounter anything that we consider negative or intentionally bad. Martha herself is obviously very sweet. We got a little bit of her, but something's still holding her back. I think she's comfortable with us. I think she likes us.
I agree. I think the interesting thing is how things aligned between your tarot reading last night to how the cards aligned tonight. I definitely think something wants to communicate. maybe in a way that it hasn't before, or people have tried communicating with it. So I think there's more to this than we know, and I think some of the, the evidence we got kind of says that.
I don't think it's just human spirits that are here, as Seth mentioned. I think it's a combination of the objects that were brought here, the people's energy, even living people can kind of haunt a place in a way, and we really truly have no way of coming down to a definitive answer. We can't even definitively say a place is haunted. Sometimes it's the people or the people involved or people who were here at some point or another. So there are a lot of mysteries to unravel at the Grand Midway, but we definitely got pretty heavily into this. I think of this place completely differently than when I used to come here. Felt like a bohemian art collective. It definitely has some dark mysteries.